You know, the world is right on the brink of a massive connectivity revolution. In this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain on the blueprint for that future. We're talking 6G systems, the AI that's going to power them, and the absolutely mind-blowing use cases they'll unlock. And this is all based on TeleTale's incredible deep dive course on this very subject.
Okay, let's start with the really big picture. Forget about just faster phones. That's small stuff. We're asking a much bigger question. What happens when our physical and our digital worlds finally merge completely? Like with no seams at all. What would a truly, totally connected world actually feel like to live in? That's the real question 6G is trying to answer.
And hey, this isn't just us daydreaming. This vision comes straight from the source, the Third Generation Partnership Project, or 3GPP. These are the folks who literally set the global standards. And in their official report on 6G, the goal they've set is, well, it's huge. They want to create connections that aren't just faster, but are deeply immersive, engaging multiple senses at once. This right here, this is the official blueprint. All right, so to really get our heads around this, we're going to follow a clear path, one that actually mirrors the course itself. First, we'll look at that grand vision. Then we'll get into the nitty-gritty and lay the technical foundation. From there, we'll dive into how AI becomes the network's brain, see how it's going to connect literally everyone and everything, and finally check out how it will completely reshape entire industries. So, let's kick things off with that core vision. And remember, everything we're about to cover, it's all grounded in that official 3GPP standard for 6G. This is super important because it means the course isn't just a bunch of cool, futuristic ideas. It's about the real, technical requirements that engineers are working on right now. So where do you even start with something this big? Well, you start at the bottom, with the foundation. Module 1 of the course is all about these system foundations. Because think about it, before you can have those amazing holographic calls or fleets of autonomous robots, you absolutely need a network that's rock solid, super secure, and just unbelievably reliable. Okay, this is where it gets really interesting, because here's how that foundation is built. First up, 6G has to play nice with the 5G we already have. No flipping a switch one day. It has to be a smooth, seamless transition. Second, and this is huge, security. It has to be secure against threats that don't even exist yet. I'm talking about quantum computing, which could just shred today's encryption. That's why they're building in quantum-resistant security from the very beginning. And finally, resilience. The goal is what they call a zero-outage network. This is for things like remote surgery or self-driving cars, where even a tiny blip in service is, well, it's just not an option. All right, with that solid foundation in place, now we get to move on to the really revolutionary part of 6G. This is what's covered in modules 2 and 3. It's where the network literally gets a brain and senses, all thanks to native AI and something called integrated sensing. And I love this because it perfectly shows how AI is a two-way street here. On one side, you have AI for the 6G system. This is AI working behind the scenes, making the network smarter, faster, and way more efficient. But on the other side, the 6G system itself becomes a platform for AI. It's what will deliver all these powerful new AI services to you, to me, to businesses. It's this perfect feedback loop where each one makes the other better. Okay, next up is a capability that honestly sounds like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie. It's called ISAC, which stands for Integrated Sensing and Communication. Just think about this for a second. The network won't just carry information anymore. It will become a gigantic sensor, using its own radio signals to understand the world around it in real time. We're talking about tracking cars, monitoring traffic, even mapping the inside of a room, all without a single camera or radar. This completely changes the very definition of what a network can be. All right, let's bring this back to us. What does all this tech actually mean for the human experience? That's what modules 4 and 5 are all about. How is 6G going to expand our reach and make our digital interactions feel just as real as being there in person? Well, the first step is what they call true ubiquity. You know those annoying dead spots where you can't get a signal? 6G's goal is to make those a thing of the past. And the way it's going to do that is by cleverly mixing together our normal ground-based networks with a whole fleet of networks in the sky. We're talking satellites, high-altitude balloons, even drones, all working together. And once you're connected, that connection has to be absolutely perfect. I mean, for things like virtual reality or holographic calls to feel real, the performance specs are just insane. We're talking less than 20 milliseconds of lag. That's faster than you can blink, speeds over 300 megabits per second, and reliability of 99.999%. What does that even mean? It means the network can only be down for about 5 minutes over an entire year. Anything less than that, and that sense of immersion just completely shatters.
But you know, 6G is so much bigger than just personal communication. It's really designed to be an engine for the entire economy. And that's where modules 6 and 7 of the course come in, exploring how 6G will power this massive new wave of change across industries and all of society.
And this is where the rubber really meets the road. We're talking about connecting billions of tiny devices to make our power grids smarter and more resilient. We're talking about safely managing swarms of delivery drones flying over our cities. Or picture collaborative robots in a factory, working right next to people, perfectly in sync. It'll even power digital twins, these perfect virtual copies of real-world systems, and enable things like life-saving remote surgery. It's incredible stuff.
And just to give you a sense of the sheer scale we're talking about here, the official 3GPP documents call for connecting up to 10,000 devices in a single square kilometer. 10,000! That's the mind-boggling number of sensors, robots, and machines that 6G needs to handle all at once in a tiny area. It's a level of density it's almost impossible to imagine with today's technology. And so that brings us to the full picture. You can see how the TeleTale course is laid out to walk you through this entire landscape step by step. It takes you from the absolute basics, the system foundations, all the way up to these incredible AI-powered applications that are going to redefine everything. It really is the complete roadmap to understanding and helping build our connected future.
Look, the standards for this are being written as we speak. The tech is being developed right now. This isn't some distant dream. This is more than just the next G for wireless. It's going to be the central nervous system for the next decade. So really, the only question left is, are you ready to be a part of building it?